Let's go through the bureaucracy. Let's stand behind the promise of Medicaid and Medicare for our citizens. And when it gets to Social Security, it isn't a sustainable system. That's just being flat honest. We can't afford it. We're going to have to make sure we hold our promises for our senior citizens, but for our younger folks, we're going to have to figure out a smarter and better way.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, Scott, how are you going to help the enslavement of our state from the federal government through the use of bribes from our tax dollars, misnamed stimulus or job bills?
You know, that's a great question, because that really just kind of sums it up. The federal government is reaching its tentacles further into state business and individual lives on a daily basis through their tax dollars, our tax dollars that they collect. I am a big proponent of bringing those dollars back in block grants. Let's take a look at the Department of Education. That's something we know in Grand Junction how to reach our kids. Let's take that bureaucracy and make it nothing more than a conduit to be able to pass dollars through and get them back to the local areas without your strings attached. When I look out into Fruita, we just have Davis-Bacon laws applied, driving up the cost $1.3 million on a water project that's out there because of government regulation. We need to have legislators that are going to go back to Washington and stand up not for the federal government, but for our states and for our individuals, and that's something I will fight for.
Thank you, Scott. Bob?
I think this comes down to transparency. You know, Florida just this year has initiated a system where the entire state budget is up online. Imagine the resistance that they had to go through to get that law passed. But any citizen can now go to the state government, flash on the budget, and look at every budget line and how it's being spent. I commit to you that eventually I would like to have the entire federal budget up online. Well, there's some things that won't be online. How many B-17s or whatever. But is that doable in my lifetime? No. Next thing, let's get the entire budget of Congress up online. Look where Congress is spending its money. I commit to you when I am sworn in, I will put my budget online immediately, and then I will push for all of Congress to have its budget online.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, Bob. As our congressman, how will you affect significant reduction in federal spending and reduce our national debt?
Well, I would like to first push for a balanced budget amendment. You know, it makes absolutely no sense that Washington is not constrained the same way we are as individuals, as families, and as businesses. But the next thing we need to do is go through with a hat and axe and look at where we can save costs, cut spending. And you know, one example of that is in the Department of Defense. You know, I'm a combat veteran. I will never sacrifice money for our combat soldiers. But we have more generals on active duty right now than we did in World War II. That's wrong. You know, we can save tremendous amounts of money in every federal department, and we just need to go through. Let's get that budget online. Let's get transparency. Let's get the ideas from you about how to cut how to cut spending.
Thank you, Bob. Scott?
When we started out this evening, I'd mentioned to you that I'll be proposing legislation, Save the United States Military, that we go in and we cut those departments 10%. They're not going to be able to eliminate services. They have to cut the bureaucracy 10%. That's a starting point. Point number 2, we need to go in and make a genuine assessment of what is the scope of government. I think those of us in this room think that maybe government overreaches. It's gotten involved in too many things in our lives. It's tried to be far too much of a nanny state, and we need to start rolling those programs not only down, but out the door. Let's stand up for the taxpayers rather than standing up for government. That's going to be our message in Washington.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, Scott, next question's for you. Why do two Tea Parties support Bob McConnell instead of you?
Good question. You know, I actually went over to the Southern Colorado Tea Party, spoke to about 300 people, and then lo and behold, it wasn't the 300 people who endorsed Bob, it was the 17-member advisory board. Your chairman over there, Shelley, admitted that. So 17 people endorsed Bob, and I'm not even sure it was a unanimous vote. Grand Junction results. Maybe you folks can tell me, did you cast a vote in here to endorse, through West Slope Conservative Alliance, to endorse Bob? I hadn't heard about it. How many people are Grand Junction results? You know, I've had a few friends. I see one raising their hand because I've got great peripheral vision. You know, I could bring together 10 people, 17 people. We could form the West Slope Tea Party, I guess, and I could get their endorsement. I want all of your endorsement. This isn't Tea Party. This isn't 9/12. These are Americans. Let's stand together. Let's take this country back.
Thank you, Scott. Bob?
Well, I have a badge I wear just as proudly as I wear my Republican candidate badge, and it says Tea Party candidate. And I am proud of that, and I've earned that by spending a lot of time on the road, out meeting with a lot of people. And I look for all your support, just as Scott does, but I wear the badge, and I'm proud of it.
Thank you. Okay, Bob. Illegal immigration is a problem of monumental proportions. What is your stand on this, and what workable solutions do you intend to implement?
Okay, I think we've addressed that question. Would you like me to address that again?
Okay, moving along. New question, Bob. Southern Colorado, from Durango to Pueblo, has provided majority votes for Salazar in recent elections. How are you going to appeal to voters there, and what specific type of campaign will be run for that area?
Well, the beauty of the Salazar country is that my oldest son is married to Maria Morales. She's the daughter of Frank and Georgia Morales, who live in Del Norte. They are multi-generational Hispanos. They are proud conservatives. I love campaigning down that part of the country because I have 3 granddaughters there. I get to hug on them. I am amazed as I travel around wearing my campaign badge at the number of people in, quote, Salazar country who will come up to me and say, "Who are you running against?" And I say, "John Salazar." I said, "You've got my vote." And I had a guy, a big cowboy-looking dude, said, "Come on outside, I want to talk to you." He said, "I'm 74 years old. I voted Democrat all my life. You've got my vote." There is incredible dissatisfaction with what's happening down there in the valley. We will exploit that, and we will take this seat back for you.
Thank you, Bob. Scott?
You know, I always look at the big picture. You know, just to look at southern Colorado, there happens to be an important community called Grand Junction and Fruta that are going to play an incredibly important role in this election as well. I've got a lot of friends, and we are working hard. I was just down in Alamosa, over into Pueblo, been over into Pagosa Springs as well. We will yield no vote. We will go after every vote. But this is the entire mix, and it's from Craig to Cortez, and from Cortez all the way over to Trinidad and Walsenburg and up to Pueblo as well. It's putting that mix together. And the sense that I have traveling throughout the 3rd Congressional District, the sense that I have is Coloradoans have had enough. They aren't going to have the wool pulled over their eyes anymore. That's people from Pueblo all the way across and up. We're going to flip this seat, and we are going to win in November.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, that was the end of our audience questions. Scott, I'm going to ask you to start first with your 2-minute closing.
Well, absolute pleasure to be here, and I thank you guys. This is my 2nd time having the privilege of being able to appear before you. I do want to recognize we even had people drive up from Cortez to be here with us this evening as well. The role that you are going to play in this election cannot be overstated, because every person in this room is a leader, each one of you, and you know it. You've had in every election somebody come up and ask you, who are you going to vote for? The power that you're going to be able to exert in terms of taking this seat back for common sense and bringing John Salazar home is incredibly important. I believe I'm the candidate that has the message and the ability to be able to win this seat. We've talked about polls. We've talked about the Cook political report moving the race into being competitive. We've talked about the Republican National Congressional Committee putting me on the radar for the Young Guns program. We've talked during the course of this about the importance of being able to raise resources, about the importance of name ID. It's in terms of the entire package. My opponent in this race, in this room today, is a nice guy. He is a nice guy. But it's a matter, he is a nice guy. But this is going to be a matter of us sitting down and winning this election.